joined now by Jeff Priscorn and Emily Clark, and soon we'll be joined by Clint Lohman. He's currently trying to connect from the Guys Upstairs improv comedy troupe. But hey, they're an improv troupe. So in the meantime, while we wait for Clint, we'll improvise and get the interview started. Jeff, Emily, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us. This was great.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit about the Guys Upstairs improv comedy troupe. How did it form? What kind of different improv comedy do you guys perform?
Okay, well, we have all got backgrounds at, we still studied at Second City back in the day. We came together, we all met each other at a theater in Ferndale. We did shows there, family shows for a few years, and then after we left there, we branched off and started doing shows in Pontiac, and we've been doing shows there regularly for over 4 years now, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun. Pontiac, we've seen Pontiac grow as we've been there. It's pretty cool.
Guys Upstairs is North Oakland County's longest-running improv comedy show, and open jam Fridays at 8 p.m. at Experimentation Brewing in Pontiac, Saturdays at 8 p.m. at the Rustic Leaf Brewing in Waterford, and Fridays at Bagley Central in Detroit. They're slated to do improv. They're slated to do improv on October 15th and 29th, performing Campfire Tales at Experimentation in Brewing in downtown Pontiac. So tell us a little bit about Campfire Tales. What can people expect on October 15th and on October 29th when they go out to see this show?
Emily?
Well, there will be a costume theme, so everybody will want to wear their best scary costumes or funny costumes, and we will be doing we'll get oh look, there's Clint. We'll get suggestions from the audience, and we will form improvised campfire scare your friends tales on stage based on the audience suggestions.
Yeah, basically we're creating horror movies that have never been made before based on a title that the audience gives us. And we started doing this about 2 years ago, and last year we couldn't because of pandemic and no performances, but we're bringing it back this October. So,
and we have some great comedians that will be coming. I don't have their names. Do you have their names, Jeff?
I think it's Chris Morgan tomorrow.
Chris Morgan.
Definitely. Yeah, we typically have either another improv troupe or some stand-up comedians that open up the show for us, and then we go on and do our show for about 90 minutes. When we're not doing the campfire things in October, we have begun doing a improvised game show. We bought a prize wheel, so we have the audience spin, and we just play all sorts of fun games, and at the end of it, we pick a winner from the audience, and they get a nice gift bag from the Guys Upstairs.
And again, that show is October 15th and 29th. The Guys Upstairs will be performing their Campfire Tales at Experimentation Brewing in downtown Pontiac. The show begins at 8 o'clock, and the cost at the door is $10. So we've talked about how the Guys Upstairs formed. Where does the name the Guys Upstairs come from? I'm assuming somebody was downstairs at the time.
Well, we were playing in a space, and we thought that we might be going upstairs in that space. There was a lot of work to do in the upstairs space, and so we thought it would be really fun to call ourselves the Guys Upstairs. It seemed like a generic type of name that
and
was kind of relatable.
Aspirational. It was an aspirational name as well.
Aspirational name. Good call.
Yeah, so but we actually never went into the upstairs space. We remained on the main floor, but we still say it works because there's at least one step up onto the stage. So
yes, it still works.
Technically you are up a stairs. Up a stair. If you walk up,
you got to make it work
multiple times. Then you technically are up multiple stairs. It's fine. It all works out. Yeah. We're joined by the Guys Upstairs: Jeff Priscorn, Emily Clark, and Clint Lohman from from North Oakland County's longest-running improv comedy troupe. You can see their upcoming show, Campfire Tales, both tomorrow, October 15th, and on October 29th, both Friday shows at 8 p.m. at Experimentation Brewing in downtown Pontiac. Pontiac. The cost at the door is $10. So you mentioned earlier about how the pandemic, you touched on briefly earlier how the pandemic impacted, of course, having the ability to have shows in person. Over the course of the pandemic, how did your comedy troupe adjust? Were you still able to perform? And if so, how did that look during the pandemic as opposed to normal conditions like now?
We did not perform really live at all. There was a bunch of other improvisers in the Detroit area that were trying to do different things online, and a few of us would pop into those. Like they had open jam nights from time to time, which, while keeping your chops up a little bit, is still not anything like, you know, performing for a live audience. We definitely we met online a lot, the five of us. And we added a sixth. My wife actually joined us, and talked a lot about what we would do when we restarted, and that kind of was the impetus for us creating the game show and everything. So we've revamped and made a better show technically and more fun. But yeah, the pandemic definitely stopped us in our tracks from performing. So still knocking the rust off.
Yeah. So then, as individual performers and even as a comedy troupe, without performing during the pandemic, how did you scratch the itch of comedy performance during that time? It's an art, but it's also it's also something of joy for performers as well. And everybody that is a performer on the stage, whether it be comedy, whether it be theater or anything else, they always have that bug to get back up. You have
to get it out. It's part of you, and I would take it out on my family and just be cracking jokes all the time. They had to live with me through the pandemic, you know, having it. Clint, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes.
You press on the microphone.
Yes.
Yes.
Me personally, my wife and I are kind of like the ad hoc marketing team for a startup company, and so we started writing and directing and producing short commercials for this new company. So we're making them as funny as possible and just scratching our production itch as well as our comedy itch, doing that kind of thing. So wasn't necessarily improvising, but it was still, you know, trying to connect with an audience and writing and stuff.
So then for each of you, why improv comedy ultimately as your outlet for performance? What drew you to improv as opposed to other forms of comedy or other forms of performance?
Clint, what do you think?
Well, you know, it's always very appealing to not have to memorize any lines or be off book. Or the repetition of saying the same act every time you perform can really get on you. So, yeah, the fact that it's new every time is really fresh.
And then Emma, for you.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I think it's a great way to connect with people too, because you're working with a group, and then you're also working with an audience. So it's this fantastic energy. It's spontaneous, and it's really a great way to keep your mind fresh.
And then Jack.
Yeah, one of the things that we all learned when we were coming up in the improv world is that you gotta have you know, reference level for everything that's going on in pop culture and stuff. So because people are going to shout out all the, you know, the current cultural things as suggestions, and you have to kind of know what those are to make them work on stage. And so that kind of helps you stay connected to real life as an improviser, because you have to always be up on things. And I totally agree with what Clint and Emily also said, just about it being spontaneous and connecting with an audience immediately, instead of just, you know, if you're doing a stage play, sure, you hold for applause and then you go back, but you're not interacting with them. So you're creating something every night and interacting with people and playing with teammates who understand and get you and want to make you look better, and you want to make them look better. So
We're joined by the Guys Upstairs comedy troupe, improv comedy troupe. They are North Oakland County's longest running improv comedy show and open jams. You can find them coming up at their Campfire Tales presentation Friday, October 15th and Friday, October 29th at Experimentation Brewing in downtown Pontiac. The show starts at 8 p.m. and the cost at the door, $10 to join them for their improv comedy show. And for people that go and see comedy, or they watch an improv comedy show, whether in person on the stage or on TV or some other form of media, oftentimes they'll think, "Oh, I could do that." To do it, but doing it and doing it well are two completely different things. It is an art, but it also is something that you have to have some practice at and really develop into a skill. For those that would be interested in dabbling in improv comedy, what goes into being a quality improv comic individually, but also as a tandem as well?
Number one is exercising your listening skills. You know, there are basic rules of improv that everybody learns. It's, don't deny, yes and. So you're always trying to build on what somebody says. So you have to be listening to what they're saying so that you can build on it.
I think too, it's a matter of taking things step by step. When you're learning as an improviser, first you need to get comfortable with, like Jeff said, agreeing with other people. But sometimes it's just starting with working with object work. What does a teacup look like? How do you use a teacup? And then from there, building on your skills a little bit at a time to where you're very solid in your self-presentation and then also your listening skills. And then you want to work on story and what makes this interesting. What makes today different?
So in terms of your performances as a improv comedy troupe, because improv comedy, you may have, in some cases like Campfire Tales, you're going in with a similar concept, or your game show, you're going in with a similar concept, but it's improv. It's going to be different every single time. And so to prepare as a troupe, to continue to build that chemistry and to build that rapport so that you can create these quality shows, how does a comedy troupe like yours go about rehearsing or go about practicing and continuing to develop those skills to put on these quality shows?
I think a lot outside of just even rehearsing, a lot of it is just the fact that we've been together so long. We trust each other. Yeah. We trust that, if I say something dumb, somebody's going to come in and fix it, or, something like that. But, there are warm-up exercises that we do before shows, just to kind of get us out of our heads so that we're not pre-planning anything. It's just, just reacting.
We're joined by Jeff Priscore and Emily Clark and Clint Lohman from the Guys Upstairs Improv Comedy Troupe. They have a couple of upcoming shows, Friday, October 15th and Friday, October 29th at Experimentation Brewing in downtown Pontiac, where they will be presenting Campfire Tales. And you can join them at 8 p.m. On those dates, and it is $10 to get in the door. So when people come to this show, they are going to be in some way participating. They'll be providing ideas. They'll be providing some different situations to your comedy troupe as you tell these horror stories, entirely improvised for them on each of these show days. So how should the audience prepare as they come out there to be as helpful as possible to the guys upstairs, but also to be prepared to enjoy the show and have a really fun time at Campfire Tales?
They should get a beer and just relax.
You could, that's one.
That's
of
a
the
great
things
way to prepare.
With our performances and experimentation, we do give them a ticket when they buy their ticket, and that ticket gets them half off their second drink. So there's even that for them. But I love that. I don't think I've ever been asked how would an audience prepare for an improv show? That's a great question, Tyler.
It is.
Wear a costume, drink a beer, and be silly.
Yeah.
But no suggestions about things like gynecologists and your typical things. Try to be creative with your suggestions to make us think.
Now keep your gynecology suggestions for your OBGYN.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
probably the best way to go about it. So we're joined by Jeff Priscorn, Emily Clark, and Clint Lohman from the Guys Upstairs comedy troupe. They have an upcoming show both Friday, October 15th and 29th at Experimentation Brewing in downtown Pontiac. That show is at 8 p.m. And the cost is $10. So just another couple minutes with the three of you before we'll say goodbye today. Is there anything else that would be interesting for our audience to know about your improv comedy troupe, either about Campfire Tales or other upcoming shows beyond Campfire Tales that people should be on the lookout for in the future?
Well, you mentioned earlier about what it takes for training to be an improviser, and that's something that we've been looking to get into as well. Is starting up workshops for as the Guys Upstairs to teach people. We had a bunch of people that continuously come out and see us, and they've always, they get up during our improv jams. They get up and they improve from week to week. It's really great to see. So that's one of the things we're hoping to do. Clint is the mastermind of that kind of workshop stuff, but keep an eye out for that on our Facebook page and our Instagram. I'd come out and have fun.
I did think of one other thing that people might want to plan for when they come out to the show.
Okay.
Is sign up for the jam. Get up there and try it, because it's not scary. We will keep you safe, and we're not going to make you do anything that's too uncomfortable for you. And you might find that you like it, and you might find that you like improv and want to kind of explore improv a little bit. It's like playing on a playground when you are an adult.
So Clint, tell us a little bit about the jam. When people are participating in it, what is that like? What are they experiencing when they do ultimately stand up and volunteer to participate in your comedy jam?
Well, yeah, what we'll do is we'll have them come up and play an improv game. So first they'll sign up, and we'll call a couple people up and explain how to play that particular game. And it'll go for about 3 to 5 minutes. There's a lot of different improv games that we have to play during the jam. And, one fun thing that we do just to keep it fresh is we offer, if an audience member thinks of a fun game to play as an improv game, we welcome any new thoughts or ideas to do that during the jam. So anyone is allowed to sign up and play, and it's usually something real quick, about 3 to 5 minutes that they'll play, and they usually want to come back and play again if they've done it before.
Well, if you want to join them for their comedy show and open jam, you can visit them 8 p.m. on Fridays at Experimentation Brewing in Pontiac, and that's also where you'll see Campfire Tales coming up on October 15th and 29th. You can also find them Saturdays at 8 p.m. at Rustic Leaf Brewing in Waterford, and Fridays at Bagley Central in Detroit as well. We appreciate having the three of you on. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
It's been great. Happy Halloween.
Yes,
Spooky
to
Halloween.
you as too.
Yes.
To you also. And happy Halloween, and good luck with your upcoming shows.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.